The biggest misconception about hustle culture in 2026 is that you need to be working all the time 24/7 because AI is going to ruin your life, take your job, leave you poor forever. And if you don't hustle now until you go to bed and do the same thing tomorrow through the weekend, cut off all your friends, talk to nobody, stay online, you're never going to make it and you'll be poor and broke forever. It's crazy the amount of content that's going on around like that right now because I'm listening to people freak out about how AI is going to either take their job or they feel overwhelmed or they're not using AI enough at work. And it's causing this massive, anxiety decision attack that folks are looking at, giving them analysis paralysis, if you will. And the thing is that people get so much engagement by saying how something's wrong versus something's right. They get anything. It's always way smarter to say if a stock is going down than a stock is going up. Just sounds smarter. I don't know why. Pessimists always sound smarter and they make great takes. So when people make social posts about AI and tech taking over, it could be anything, right? But I think the biggest thing is like AI and what it'll kind of be like in our daily lives. It always sounds way better to say how you're screwed and it's evil and you can't trust your AI chatbot and AGI is going to come. The singularity is real. Robots will take over us all and form their own army. Like all these things sound so much smarter to say versus maybe we have a take about one guy who says, hey, what if AI actually doesn't take all of our jobs or at least makes us think about our jobs differently and creates a new economy? And then maybe we actually don't have to be slave wages all the time and the AI can help us live in a more fruitful world where we can work 20-hour weeks and just focus on more creative work and entertaining each other and let the robots do all the hard stuff. Maybe we can get people out of, sweatshops and get robots in there and they can just have some type of, economic incentive to do something else. I don't have all the plans or all the answers, but I guess what I'm trying to make this video as a response to all this negativity with some positivity because two things are for certain right now. One, AI hasn't taken over in your life. And two, if you let it mentally take over your life now with that analysis paralysis that I talk about and let you freeze up and not even enjoy or be present and make decisions, you're not going to win either. The key in life is to have breaks and webs and flows, throughout your work, throughout your work day and your work week and seasons of your life, and taking vacations, taking a weekend off here and there, then having really hard sprints where you're working 7 days straight, working a 12-hour day. Um, if you just stay freaking out all the time, trying to beat AI, trying to win some type of game that you don't even know how to win, it's going to be tough and you're going to get burnt out at some point. Maybe you will think of something and make $1 million. If you do, congratulations, you did it. Like that is the plan, right? We all want to do create wealth for our friends and family. That's the point of this channel. I think a lot of people watching this episode or watching any videos I've made want to create wealth, and money and create freedom in their life for their family and themselves and their friends. But it goes back to the tail end of time. You can't just focus on one thing. You'll lose the others. You have to really have balance in your life. You have to balance your relationship with your family, balance the relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, balance the relationship with your kids, balance the relationship with your job, your physical fitness. Something's going to go if you go all in on the other one. So if you go all in on worrying about AI or going all trying to beat AI or going all in on working 24/7, working 7 days a week, if you give into that impulsiveness to forget about the real world and give into your fears, you're gonna get wrecked. Relationships are gonna fall out. You're gonna freak out. You're gonna not be a fun person to be around. You're not going to even enjoy life. A year could go by and you realize you were just worrying about nothing. The world's the same. The thing about AI in general in the tech world is that like I work in tech. I use AI every day at work. I think that I'm like starting to get a bit ahead in that sector. It's not to say I'm better than anybody else. Like I'm very familiar about what's going on. I stay up to date in the news. But 90% of the world hasn't even used an AI chatbot yet. And 98% of the world has no idea about the other chatbots besides like ChatGPT, which at one point, kind of a different conversation could be a bit concerning because these people do need to start educating themselves. There is a real reality that this AI will disrupt the economy. It will do something. We're not going to take that out of this video. AI is going to disrupt this economy in some couple of ways. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think right now. I think it's a longer term thing that hopefully we'll all have time to adjust to. But my point being is that it hasn't done what it needs to do yet. And then also, so many people in the tech world specifically are wicked overwhelmed, and they can't get out of their analysis paralysis and get out of their own shells themselves. And they need to step out and realize that there's actually a million things going on in this world that don't rely on AI today. That AI will not disrupt yet. It's really the white collar people who are getting ruined the most, which their that job economy has always been um, felt disruptive. The folks in that economy feel disrupted by technology because think about the internet in 2000, how many jobs that replaced. It just created new jobs. Now we all use laptops. AI will take out a bunch of jobs, then we'll create new jobs with just using AI. People will start businesses that are worth $1 billion with only 2 employees. People can start their own businesses that makes $1 million and have no employees. Like there's also so many other opportunities that's going to come out of this that we're not thinking about yet. Um, and I think there's like another conversation here where you can't always be the 100% grind guy all the time. There are psychos out there, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, they've been known for it. And you can do that too, but also like I love, I admire those people, but they don't have the best family life or friends life, or they go insane, or they even most of these people who look back and say they have $1 billion say, hey, I wouldn't do it because I sacrificed so much other stuff. Right. So I always am an advocate of taking breaks and working in cycles. And what does that mean? It means working like a lion. I think it's what said by Naval the best. You don't want to be like a cow all day. You don't want to treat your work as a cow eats grass. A cow just kind of moseys around, eats grass. You always see a cow just kind of sitting still, eating along, eating the grass. A lion, however, is someone you want to work like. You want to hunt and kill and eat like a lion and then rest all day too. Lions mosey around, walk around, pace, and all of a sudden when they have their kill in front of them, they pounce, they attack, they eat it, they kill, and they sprint. Sprint, rest, sprint, rest. Don't just mosey around in cycles. And that's what ends up happening, for these people who feel burnt out is they get overwhelmed by the work hustle culture we've always pushed. They try and just keep working, 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 pushing, pushing, pushing. 3 months go by, they're completely done. They don't want anything to do with it. They can't go back to their banking job. They can't go back to their big tech job, and it cooks them out. I think the best founders, the best entrepreneurs, the best business people are often lazy. We've heard Bill Gates say it himself, even though I don't know he fully believes it, but he says that he'd rather hire a lazy person to do a hard job because he knows that they'll find an easy way to do it. Some of the smartest people hate working. Like some of the most richest people hate working too. That's why they wanted to get rich because they hate to work. Um, and then there's also people who feel passionate about it too. It's all about finding your purpose too. But like the more the concept of what we're talking about today is that you need to actually build systems that create flexibility in your life and the ability for you to stay in it for the long game and stay in it for the 10-year, the 20-year, the 30-year outlook. Okay. You still need to have that outlook today, even if you think AI is going to ruin your life for the next year or two. I don't think it is. And if it does, you got to pivot and make a better plan. Plan for the AI economy. Think longer term. Don't just be a doomer all day. Try to beat everybody else out. Um, I think what I'm talking about today is a double-edged sword because I don't want you to have the doomer mentality of always thinking about AI, but you do have to think about it too at the same time. But just make a plan and take a step back and realize that you need to work in seasons. You can't completely stress yourself out 7 days in a row because you'll never get anything done. You need to use proper hygiene for your mental health, your fitness, all that stuff. And then go out, make a game plan, and attack and execute. Hunt like a lion, go through a hard 3 month sprint, and maybe take a month off to travel. Or really make use of your weekends. Maybe you work a 70-hour work week in the weekdays, rest on the weekends. Don't just mosey around, work, 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 stress, stress, stress. AI is going to stop everything. I think we've always as humans battled work versus rest. You see it in a lot of American families, especially, but it's even getting sprinkled on top on with all of that, with the AI threat that so many tech people, specifically, at least I'm seeing in my world, are feeling extremely, scared by. That they're white collar jobs, for finance people too, for lawyers, accountants, people coming out of college, kids coming out of college, their white collar jobs are getting replaced. They don't have a game plan. And instead of just still taking the cycles and approaching things properly like a lion would, they're just walking around. I wouldn't say a cow. A cow doesn't look too stressed out, but they're going through this day-to-day process of making no plans and stressing out and trying to beat themselves up. And it's never going to work out. You're never going to be happy. You're going to miss your whole life. You only got 4,000 weeks to live here on planet Earth. Make sure you use it accordingly. That's what we're talking about today. Hopefully you can use it this week and share with friends. If you have any thoughts on AI or how you're using it in your daily life, how you're thinking about it in the economy, please feel free to share thoughts. See you guys next week. Thanks.